The Devil's Bridge, the call from the river inn. A small town in Tennessee, USA, there stands an old crumbling bridge, abandoned, forgotten, yet still lingering like a relic of a tragic past. Locals call it the Devil's Bridge, not because it is linked to demons, but because what lurks beneath it is far worse than anything you could ever imagine. The blood-stained legend. The story of the Devil's Bridge has many versions, but they all trace back to a mysterious disappearance in the 1920s. Legend has it that a wealthy landowner, Henry Calloway, lost his 10-year-old daughter, Annabelle, under terrifying circumstances. One day, Annabelle left home to play near the bridge and never returned. The townspeople searched for weeks, but no one ever found any trace of the little girl. The only thing they discovered was a single white shoe, covered in mud, lying at the edge of the river beneath the bridge. Henry was devastated. He became convinced that something under the bridge had taken his daughter, but Annabelle wasn't the last. Over the years, more and more children vanished near the bridge. Their bodies were never found. No one knew where they had gone. Rumors spread. The locals believed that an unseen force resided beneath the bridge, something that lured children with a sweet, whispering voice, before dragging them into the depths forever. The haunting phenomena. The Devil's Bridge quickly became a place that no one dared to visit after dark. Those who did reported terrifying, unexplainable experiences, whispers in the dark. Late at night, faint voices echo from beneath the bridge. It sounds like children calling out, their voices filled with longing. Some say that if you listen carefully, you will hear your own name being called. The shadow beneath the bridge. Witnesses claim to have seen a small figure standing at the river's edge, staring up at the bridge with empty, hollow eyes. When they look away and glance back, the figure is gone, leaving only the sound of water dripping in the eerie silence. Cold, grasping hands. Those who walk across the bridge at midnight often feel a freezing cold hand wrap around their ankle. Some have even felt a strong pull, as if something was trying to drag them down into the river. A family's terrifying encounter. In 1998, a family had a horrifying experience on the Devil's Bridge. David Wilson, his wife, and their 6-year-old daughter Emily were driving home from a weekend trip when they crossed the bridge at night. As their car reached the center of the bridge, the engine suddenly shut off. The radio began to crackle, and through the static they heard a weak, ghostly voice whisper, "Help me, Mommy." Emily, who had been quiet the entire ride, suddenly burst into tears and covered her ears. David's wife turned to her daughter, her face pale with fear. "Who are you hearing, sweetie?" Emily lifted her little hand and pointed out the window. "She wants me to come play with her." David's wife followed their daughter's gaze, but there was no one there. And then, without warning, Emily's car door swung open by itself, as if someone on the outside had yanked it open. David lunged forward, grabbing his daughter and slamming the door shut. His wife screamed. She had seen something in the rearview mirror. On the glass, small, wet handprints had appeared, as if someone had pressed their tiny palms against it from the outside. The car finally started again. David slammed his foot on the gas and sped away, never looking back. They never spoke about that night again, and they never crossed the Devil's Bridge again. Science or supernatural? Some skeptics argue that the hauntings at the Devil's Bridge can be explained logically. Acoustic illusions. The wind passing through cracks in the bridge could create a whispering effect. Mass hysteria. People who hear about the legend might imagine the voices due to fear and suggestion. Condensation and handprints. The ghostly handprints on car windows could be old fingerprints reappearing due to moisture. But those who have actually experienced these horrors do not believe it is just their imagination. Final warning: to this day, the Devil's Bridge still stands, a silent witness to the disappearances, the whispers, and the unseen horrors lurking beneath. If you ever find yourself driving across it at night, remember this: do not stop on the bridge. Do not listen to the voices calling from below. And if you see a shadowy figure by the river, leave immediately. Because if you hesitate, a cold little hand may grasp your wrist, pull you down, and make sure you never... Crybaby Bridge. The crying in the night deep in the countryside of Texas, USA. There lies an old narrow bridge known as Crybaby Bridge. Locals whisper about its eerie reputation. Anyone who dares to stop on the bridge at night will hear the unmistakable sound of a baby crying, echoing through the darkness. Some say that if you hear it, you must leave immediately, because if you stay too long, you might never leave at all. The Curse of the Grieving Mother. The legend of Crybaby Bridge dates back to the 1950s and tells a story of heartbreak, despair, and tragedy. A young woman, pregnant out of wedlock, was cast out by her conservative family. With nowhere to go, she wandered the outskirts of town, trying to survive. But no one would help her. When the baby was born, the mother struggled to provide for it. As time passed and her situation grew worse, she fell deeper into despair and hopelessness. One stormy night, she carried her infant to the bridge, standing over the dark, churning river below. Her tears mixed with the falling rain as she whispered to her child one last time. With a heart-wrenching scream, she threw the shadowy baby into the icy water below. The child's cries rang out into the night, fading away with the current. But as soon as the deed was done, the mother regretted it. She leapt from the bridge, trying desperately to reach her baby, but it was too late. The next morning, the townspeople found her body tangled in the roots beneath the bridge, her lifeless eyes still wide open in horror. The baby was never found. Since then, the bridge has never been silent again. Unexplained paranormal encounters, people who live near. Crybaby Bridge refused to cross it after dark. Those who do often experience terrifying, unexplainable phenomena, the phantom crying. If you stop your car on the bridge and turn off the engine at midnight, you may hear a faint wailing sound in the distance. At first, it's subtle, like the wind whistling through the trees. But then the sound becomes clearer, louder, and filled with anguish. Some have even heard a ghostly whisper close to their ear. "Mama, it's so cold." Handprints on the car. Those who park their cars on the bridge often return to find tiny handprints on the windows and body of the car. A few drivers have even felt a cold, invisible hand touch them, sending shivers down their spine. The shadowy figure. Some witnesses claim to have seen a woman in a soaked white dress standing at the center of the bridge. Her long red hair covers her face. When they approach her, she vanishes into thin air, leaving behind a chilling silence. A terrifying encounter. Three Friends Night of Horror 1. October night, 3 college students from the city decided to test the legend. They parked in the middle of Crybaby Bridge, turned off the engine, and waited. For several minutes, nothing happened, just the sound of the river beneath them. But then, a cold gust of wind swept over them, carrying the smell of stagnant water and decay. Suddenly, the sound of a baby crying pierced the silence. One of the 3, a girl, began to tremble. She whispered, "I feel like someone is standing behind us." At that moment, the car shook violently, as if something or someone was pounding on it from behind. Panicked, the drivers scrambled to start the engine and sped away. When they reached safety, they stepped out of the car, only to find tiny handprints smeared all over the back windshield. They never returned to the bridge again. Science or supernatural? Skeptics have tried to explain away the hauntings of Crybaby Bridge with logical theories, acoustic phenomena. The sound of water rushing over rocks could create an illusion of a baby's cry, mass hysteria. The widespread belief in the legend could make people hallucinate or imagine ghostly encounters. Moisture and handprints. The ghostly handprints could be old fingerprints reappearing due to condensation, but those who have actually experienced the paranormal at Crybaby Bridge refuse to believe it's just their imagination. Crybaby Bridge, a warning to the brave. To this day, Crybaby Bridge stands eerily still, a decaying relic of tragedy and sorrow. If you ever find yourself there at night, remember, do not stop for too long. Do not try to call out to whatever lingers there. And if you hear the cries, leave immediately. Because if you don't, you may feel a cold, ghostly hand reaching out from the darkness, gripping your arm, pulling you into a place where no one will ever find. Overtoun Bridge, the suicide bridge for dogs and its haunting mystery in Scotland. Overtoun Bridge, located in Dumbarton, Scotland, may seem like just another old stone bridge built in 1895. However, this place has gained a sinister reputation due to a bizarre and chilling phenomenon. For decades, hundreds of dogs have mysteriously jumped to their deaths from this very bridge. The mysterious dog suicides. Since the 1950s, locals and visitors alike have noticed a strange and unsettling pattern. Dogs, for no apparent reason, suddenly leap off the bridge. Witnesses report that these dogs appear completely normal, walking calmly with their owners. However, upon reaching a specific spot on the right side of the bridge, they abruptly jump over the edge, plunging into the rocky gorge below. Even more disturbingly, some dogs that survived the fall returned to the bridge and attempted to jump again, as if compelled by an unseen force. To date, over 600 dogs have leaped from Overtoun Bridge, with at least 50 confirmed deaths. Pet owners remain baffled and heartbroken, unable to comprehend why their beloved companions would behave this way. A haunted bridge? The chilling accounts. As the mystery deepened, eerie stories began to circulate, suggesting that the bridge is cursed or haunted by supernatural forces, the wandering ghost and the gateway to the other world. According to Scottish folklore, Overtoun is considered a mystical place where the veil between life and death is thin. The bridge's first owner, Laird Overtoun, was rumored to be deeply involved in occult practices and believed that the bridge was a gateway to the afterlife. Many people claim to have seen a ghostly white figure wandering the bridge, sometimes appearing as a woman in a flowing dress, while other times manifesting as an ominous mist that lingers despite clear skies. Some visitors have reported feeling an unseen force pushing them, as if trying to shove them over the edge. Nearby residents have recounted hearing eerie howling and barking at night, despite no dogs being present in the area. The horrifying murder of 1994. The bridge's dark reputation only grew stronger in 1994, when a horrifying crime occurred here. A man named Kevin Moy, suffering from severe delusions, threw his infant son off the bridge, believing the child to be the incarnation of the devil. After killing his son, Moy attempted to take his own life by jumping from the bridge but failed. When questioned, he claimed that a voice in his head urged him to do it, and that a dark force had compelled him. This gruesome murder cemented Overtoun Bridge's status as a place of death and supernatural dread. Terrifying theories and scientific explanations. Experts and paranormal investigators have attempted to uncover the truth behind the bridge's deadly mystery, the scent hypothesis. Some scientists believe that dogs might be attracted to the scent of mink, squirrels, or rodents living beneath the bridge. However, this theory fails to explain why dogs only behave this way on Overtoun Bridge, and why some return to jump again after surviving. Paranormal influence. Many locals insist that an evil presence haunts the bridge, luring dogs to their deaths. Psychic investigators claim to have sensed a powerful, malevolent energy surrounding the area. Ultrasonic waves. Another theory suggests that the bridge might be emitting high-frequency ultrasonic sounds that humans cannot hear, but dogs can. These sounds might cause extreme disorientation, making the animals behave erratically. Overtoun Bridge today. Despite various attempts to explain the phenomenon, the mystery of Overtoun Bridge remains unsolved. The bridge continues to attract thrill seekers and ghost hunters, eager to test their courage, especially at night. Local authorities have even placed warning signs, urging dog owners to keep their pets on a leash when crossing the bridge. Overtoun Bridge stands as one of the most haunted and enigmatic locations in the world. If you ever visit Scotland, would you dare to cross this bridge?